Noah took wine and he was drunk. He fell shamefully on the ground. And one of his sons came and saw the father's nakedness and laughed at it. Fathers are not perfect. Those who go before us are not perfect. The carriers of the oil we need are not perfect. Sometimes you can see things about their life that may not be the best. But like I taught, can you endure the limitations and focus on the grace? Looking for a perfect vessel will leave you cheated forever, because you are not even one yourself. If Jesus were to walk upon the earth and he was going to be your mentor, you will fight him one day. A man who flogs people one day, then he's with a woman at the well alone. Then he enters the house of a corrupt tax collector and he tells you, I'm sinless. You say you are joking. That is the Jesus you are saying you love. Many people love him because he's in heaven. If he's on earth, in 2 weeks you'll be tired. Searching for perfection before your heart opens will leave you in embarrassment. The vessels are frail. Some of them are temperous like Elijah. It is still Abraham.
That is really breathtaking. I just want to let everyone watching understand why Nigeria will continue to be one of the greatest nations in Africa. You cannot fight this. They understand leadership. Nigerians understand how to serve. It is from Nigeria that we heard serve Oga. Nigerians have an open mind. You cannot beat this. I've read countless books on leadership, business, innovation, what uplifts people out of poverty. It might be tough right now, but truth be told, Nigeria will become one of the greatest nations in the world if this mindset continues. I mean, I'll give it up. Are you tracking? They understand leadership. They understand how to serve. They understand cooperation. They understand love and unity. They know what it means to cooperate with one another. I mean, you can't beat this. Everyone has a flaw. Everyone has a shortcoming. But if your mindset is driven towards progress and development, no one can stop you. And I'm telling you guys, it's a matter of time. God will add to their territory, even if their population is beyond their geographical location. God will dissolve some nations and add to Nigeria. Israel lost their territory. It happened multiple times. God will do that. They have an open mind. Now, this is what I want you to pay attention to. This is what is happening in Africa right now. We are seeing African leaders kicking out French troops in Africa, and people are celebrating. The reason why I'm making this video is to educate us Cameroonians on something. So pay attention. Share this video. If you're thinking that this 2025, you go and cast a vote and somehow your life will change, pay attention to this video. Because it is not about voting. Why are you voting? Who are you voting for? What values do they share? Are you tracking? That is why we go in there to vote. We have anti-Western sentiment in the continent right now. We've heard about what just happened in Senegal. Why we are driven by these emotions, because we think that the West is bad. I want you to pay attention. We don't look at things that way, right? If you understand what is going on in the world, this is what it means to be an international player, an international diplomatic player. Or else you will just find yourself losing every time and yet thinking that you are smart. Another leader that we just heard of recent that is kicking out French troops from their country is the president of Ivory Coast. I want you to pay attention to this video. I want you guys to reason with me. Think, right? Now, this is what is happening. While all of these African leaders are kicking out French troops out of their country, look at what Nigeria is doing. Nigeria's president slowly goes into France and creates a relationship with France. Are you understanding? They slowly move in there and start a relationship with France. What does that tell you? You think Nigeria is betraying Africa? You think the president of Nigerians, they don't have president, they have a leader. In this generation, we need smart leaders. And let me explain. A politician gives what the people want. If you had to go around Nigeria taking consensus or try to take census, like, do you want the president to go over to France? Many people, maybe some would say no. But this is a leader. He looked at the condition of his people in their country and said, I'll make a decision that will benefit the entire nation. Everyone is fighting this man. Because everyone is fighting this man right now, he should be a good friend. He should be a good friend because he sees value in that relationship. Now, this is what happened while he went over to France, which is interesting. And that is why I bring this video up.
Now I'm giving my testimony, oh, I'm killing the beat and I'm giving the heat, so hey. Now I'm giving them everything, oh, I'm living my life, I don't talk money, hey, I don't taste money, hey. My God, I'm allergic to poverty. You saw it. So I'm using my sign to gather the property. Say, okay, now. No time, like the Statue of Liberty. No.
Okay. Do you know what happened? Many people from Africa saw this and they were culturally sensitive. That is, they were more culturally sensitive than looking at the economic potential. But this is what Nigeria just did. Nigeria has looked at what is going on in their country, the struggles that people are going through, the economic opportunities around the world, and they did one thing, and they've done this for a considerable period of time. They took the cultural sensitivity or culture in general, and they placed it one step down, and then they put economic development up. Because your frame of reference is predicated on how you see the world. So if economic hardship is not a priority to you, we can tell by the decisions that your president or your leaders make. This move tells me, and everything that happened in France tells me, that Nigeria has moved economic development up, progress up, right? Interacting with the rest of the world and benefiting from every nation. That means well for Nigeria. They just prioritize that. And this is what Nigeria has been doing for a very long time. That is why you go to every corner of the earth, you will find a Nigerian. Why? Because the people are looking for opportunities to better their country. And that is more important for them than how a white man sings their song. And they tried so hard to put up this performance. When we are doing R&B and pop, we are not culturally sensitive, right? When we do R&B, when we do pop, or when we try to dance like Michael Jackson, we are not culturally sensitive. But when a white man tries to sing like an African, try to mimic the accent, we are culturally sensitive. But when we are doing that, trying to tweak our tongue to speak like a white man, we are not culturally sensitive. And this is why I'm throwing light to this. Cameroonians, we will not be foolish like the rest of some of these nations and what they are doing, right? We gotta be blunt. Look at those who are changing everything for our continent. Are you understanding? Don't follow this. And sometimes it's not about age. Because sometimes you might say, oh, the leader is old, we want somebody new. No, politics is all about giving what the people want. And what the people want might not be what is good for the people. Case in point, when Barack Obama came to power, what happened? The people wanted gay. The people wanted LGBTQ. That is what the people wanted. What did he do? He gave the people what they wanted. Now, majority wins the vote. We want our voices heard. My question to you, even as an African, Are you okay with that? No, you don't want that, right? You don't. Okay. But today, are you going to blame Obama for that? I don't blame Obama for that. Why? Because he is a politician. A politician gives what the people want. Now, there's a clear distinction between someone like, say, Barack Obama and someone like Abraham Lincoln. And that is why I want you to pay attention, because this is why we learn. This is why we learn, so that we don't make the same mistakes. We don't go around putting our heads in the ground. And that is why I applaud Nigeria so much, because I see the moves that their president is making. Just look at what everybody's doing, and then you go the opposite direction. You will succeed in life. It's that easy. Many people are always going to the wrong direction. Many people are always making the wrong decision. That is why you see more people poor in the world and very few people rich. Why? Because you don't need to even go to a classroom to understand this. Just follow where the people are going. Just go the other direction. It's that easy. You succeed in this life. Many people are always going to the wrong direction. So this is what Abraham Lincoln did. Abraham Lincoln was president at a time where America wanted to separate, right? America wanted to separate those who wanted to keep their slaves and those who did not want slaves. That was what America was at that time, right? 1865, 1863, where he signed the Emancipation Proclamation. And he's like, we are going to abolish the slavery and the slave trade, right? But yet we will still stay together as a nation. That is why he is very respected. As a leader, politician, there's a difference. So what did he do? He was able to sign that Emancipation Proclamation. But do you know what they tell you today? The black people fought for their independence. They fought for their freedom. No, it was not just the black people fighting for their freedom. There was a decree that was signed which led to the freedom of black people. And that must be factored. Be smart. Wise people who want economic freedom are not sentimental. I want many white people to sing our songs. We want to dance around white people and feel like, oh, when they endorse your song, it's popular. Now they will receive your president and they sing the same song. We are culturally sensitive. Are you seeing it? The world has advanced, guys. Times have changed. And I'm just saying this for Cameroonians in particular. If you are following anyone that has all of this kind of rhetoric, I'm telling you, oh my God, progress is far from you. Progress is far from you. The new breed of individuals that we will raise in this generation in Cameroon will never be this stupid. Take advantage of opportunities. Are you tracking? My God, man. Okay. Let me go back to this. Listen to this one more time.
Noah took wine and he was drunk. He fell shamefully on the ground. And one of his sons came and saw the father's nakedness and laughed at it. Fathers are not perfect. Those who go before us are not perfect. The carriers of the oil we need are not perfect. Sometimes you can see things about their life that may not be the best. But like I taught, can you endure the limitations and focus on the grace? Looking for a perfect vessel will leave you cheated forever, because you are not even one yourself. If Jesus were to walk upon the earth and he was going to be your mentor, you will fight him one day. A man who flogs people one day, then he's with a woman at the well alone. Then he enters the house of a corrupt tax collector and he tells you, I'm sinless. You say you are joking. That is the Jesus you are saying you love. Many people love him because he's in heaven. If he's on earth, in 2 weeks you'll be tired. Searching for perfection before your heart opens will leave you in embarrassment. The vessels are frail. Some of them are temperous like Elijah. Some of them may be unstable like Abraham. Yet God will not choose another vessel. It is still Abraham. Noah.
And this is exactly what I am talking about, because if we do not pay attention to what he just said, we are going to struggle for the next 200 years to make progress. So one thing I wanted to clarify about the decisions that these presidents are making in Africa, we want to kick Franks out. I want to let you know, before I invest in your country, I want to make sure there's security. There should be security enough for me to invest in your country. The reason why you don't have Senegalese troops stationed in America or in Europe is because their security is enough. That is why you and Africa, or you from Africa, travel over there and you do business and you get a job in a safe community. But that is not the case in our countries, and we have to accept that. Are you tracking? So the first thing to do good business, those who live in the Anglophone region, you've understood this principle from a practical standpoint, that when we are not safe, we cannot do business. So safety must be ensured. Corruption can't permeate our environment, and yet we want trade to prevail. For those who are saying the West gives them foreign aid, and then it is a form of manipulation to dominate them, guys, no one will give you anything for free. There are some people that, yes, they will give you something for free, but I want to let you know, no one will give you anything for free. We are working tirelessly here because it is our country, and we feel like we have the duty and responsibility to build our country. But as we get partners coming in, none of them will come in and invest their money in Cameroon for free. None of them will come and give you aid for free. And they say there's a string attached. Obviously, there should be. How many Africans travel to West, travel to America, travel to Europe to work in Europe for the interest of the Europeans? You go there to work for the interest of your family and your country. None of you go over there to work for the interest of the Europeans. None of you do that. Are you understanding? For the sake of humanity, we want to do good and make the world a better place. Yes, that is a good fact. But I want to let you know, even Jesus Christ did not give you salvation for free. It is on one condition, that you become a disciple, that you become a follower, that you become a Christian. When you are making that declaration to become a Christian, you sign that oath. If you take money from people, you should be able to listen to them and listen to what they are telling you, because you do not have the money. And so they are giving you the money. And if they are giving you the money, you should be able to listen to what they are telling you. If you will not listen, don't ask them the money and don't take the money when they offer it. If they say they want to give you foreign aid, say no, we will survive without your aid. That is clear. And you are honest upfront and they can trust you. This is what happened in Africa, guys. While we got our independence in 1960, 1961, Singapore got their independence in 1965. Singapore has been colonized since the 18th century. Before you, Singapore was colonized. When Britain was leaving, guess what? In 1965, what happened? Singapore built a solid relationship with Britain, built a solid business relationship, military relationship with America. What happened? Today, Singapore is a very successful nation. Why? Because they did not let the colonial sentiment cloud their judgment, not to be sensitive that their people need economic prosperity. This is what we did. When Kwame Nkrumah came back, what did they have? Anti-Western sentiment. We'll form a one Africa. What happened? Other African countries now, they are struggling with the so-called independence under Marxism or socialist ideologies that don't work. What is happening with our continent is draining. Why? We are too emotional. We are culturally sensitive. If someone sings our song, we are mad. This is how we see the white people. You have to understand this, my friend. America is successful today for one reason. They did not just build a nation full of white people. They said, we'll welcome people from everywhere around the world. Whatever gifts or talent they have, come into our country. We will welcome you. We have Cameroonians in the American military service. We have Cameroonians that are police officers in this country. We have Cameroonians that are armies in this country. I want to let you know, guys, this nation works. America works. The best and the most successful nation on earth financially works because of diverse talents from every nation on earth. That is why it works. So if we already have European soldiers in our midst, how can you incorporate them into your law enforcement? How can you learn their strategies and incorporate that into your legal system? How can you go about that? We need more foreigners. We don't need less. Any nation that want to stay all by themselves struggles. It is a fact. Go look at Singapore today. Singapore is a miracle. It is a miracle because why? They were open. Even China succeeded today because they opened up to even think and reason with what America was doing. That is why China is successful today. Everything they copied from America. Open your eyes. Open your eyes. All this cultural sentiment, we want to hold on to colonialism, we want to hold on to slavery and slave trade, this will drain us. Cameroon will be that one nation. Unless I'm not alive, I will not allow this happen. We will be smart, we'll have an open mind, we'll be receptive, we'll be welcoming. If you see strangers in your midst, welcome them. This is what we were taught. We have to practice it even now like never before. And I want to let you know that is why we struggle. If the president talks about let's welcome people, you will sit in the community and fight. And when we fight, what happens? The country goes up in flame. We need to be receptive, understand leadership. What happened? The Nigerian president just went to France, came back. What has happened? Right now, they will be opening up opportunities. Why you are running around Pan-Africanism, running around fighting colonialism, fighting imperialism, neo-colonialism. Let's kick the Western nations out. Nigeria will embrace them, enhance their economy, and then you will have to go learn from them. You will beg from them. You sit in your small countries and say, Nigerians are the best in Afrobeat. They are the best in this. We cannot fight them. How can you ever fight them if you don't have an open mind? Success starts with you thinking optimistically. You never experienced slavery and slave trade. Some of you never experienced colonialism. Where are you getting all of this from? Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. And I'm saying this to Cameroonians, wake up. This is the generation. We will not be deceived in this generation. It is easy to become a politician in Cameroon. We're going to make it hard for you if you want to become a politician. You understand what I'm saying? We are going to make it hard for you. You have to work hard to prove to us that you are competent to be a politician. This is how they do it. And it's easy. I could gather a crowd. I could pull crowd. I know what to say against that government to make you feel like, oh yeah, it's a good idea. And then all of a sudden we start fighting. There are a lot of things we need to change in our government, but we cannot change that. There are a lot of things we have to change in our country, but we cannot change that if we, the people, don't get our act together. I can get up today and say all sorts of nasty things about President Pobi. I'll be tactical, not even emotional. I'm telling you, I'll be strategic and tactical. And you are going to rally behind me in the name of politics. Are you understanding what I'm saying? But that is the cheapest and easiest. Anybody can talk bad about the president. It's so easy because you don't even get caught. You live far. I'm in a different country. I can say it. Who cares? America will protect me. Who cares? Right? You can do that. But at the end of the day, do you really love the people? Do you want change? Do you even understand what you're doing? Are you understand what I'm saying? We are waiting for this 2025 presidential election. If you want to step up to become a president of this nation, there's a lot of work for you to do because the citizens are not that stupid. If you want to become successful as a politician in Africa, just stand up and say the West is going. You get crowd really fast. The next day, the place will be crowded. People will rally around because why? These are emotional triggers. They are psychological triggers. The human beings is triggered by fight or flight. That is by fear. Nothing motivates people like fear. And if you tell anyone that the enemy is coming, they will be scared. But if you tell them success is coming, yeah, they like it, but it will take a little bit of time for them to engage. But skilled leaders invest time to explain to people the economic potential of investing in the future and motivate the people to engage in that process. Those who are politicians, they look for what hurts you or what will make you be afraid, and all of a sudden you're rallying around them. That is why in politics, people call themselves comrades. You know why they call themselves comrade? Comrades are people who are against other people. People who are against other ideas, people who are against, in quotes, right? That is why they call themselves comrade. But now when we are talking about development in the private sector, these are constituents. These are different group of people. Constituents are individuals who are for something. They are for growth, for development, for progress, for. So by the time we restructure this and say, oh, I'm not just going to have someone who is a politician, but a leader that is for something. What are you for? Are the people voting you because of what you are for, or are the people voting you because of what you are against? So these are two different groups of people. One is a constituent, another is a comrade. So they call themselves comrade. We are against CPDM. Comrade, we are against SDF. comrade. We are against MRC. So all of that is what fuels this vehicle called politics in our nation. But that is too cheap. It's full of deception. Time flies by. We see no change because it is hard to have visionary leaders in our countries, because the easiest way for them to drive us is to lure us into this anti-Western sentiment or anti-government sentiment. Are you understanding? It takes no skill to be against the government. It takes no skill to be against Western powers. It takes no skill. So what am I saying in effect? What these leaders have to learn, which is what happens in America. If you are not strong, you get kicked out. If you're not strong, you lose in business. If you're not strong, you do not make it. It takes a certain degree of humility to understand this and learn, right? You need negotiation skills. If I see France in my country, I'm not threatened. I will sit on the table and we look at principles. We look at policies. We look at bilateral agreements. We look at trade policies. We look at tariffs. We look at other factors, right? We look at FDIs, foreign direct investments, and what are some of the tax breaks surrounding those incentives that has to do with tax breaks or FDIs. We look at that. How can we create a favorable environment for trade that is a win-win? I'm not saying France come into Cameroon for the benefit of Cameroonians only. No, France, I know you're coming in, you want to get something. How can we negotiate in such a way you get something, my people get something, we all win, nobody leaves here hurt? Are you understanding? Or nobody leaves this transaction a loser. This is how business has been done in the past. This is what has happened in the past. But moving forward, we can make things better. And this is what I think we can do for our nation. That is a good place to start. Are you guys understanding? When you have this kind of energy in the private sector, you will get to the place where you can even change the government if you don't like that government, so that they can represent your ideas, and you can look for someone that is competent enough to represent you, maybe with foreign policies, and make sure that transactions are well negotiated. That is what Africa needs. It's tough. I hear their negotiation skills is weak. And sometimes you're too humble to tell them, no, let me be polite with this. No, I can't be polite with this because I see how you're hurting your people and you're spreading this energy around. It's full of ignorance. Are you understanding? That is why Nigeria will be one of the greatest nations in this continent. You can't beat this. God will bless them. You cannot fight it. Because of how they think. They know how to serve, unite on a leader. You see all these confident preachers from Nigeria. What do you think happened? Their people get up every day and say, Papa, sir, we believe in you. We see what you're doing. And that is what fuels them. And God opens them to pour more into the people. God gives them more. But if you come from a place where people are fighting you every day, instead of you trying to get more to give the people, you're struggling to deal with their comments and their emotional sentiment or emotional sensitivity towards what you're doing. Are you understanding? That is what is going on in our country. If there's any Cameroonian thinking that what Senegal and Cote d'Ivoire is doing makes any sense, it tells me where you are and everyone following that kind of person. Are you understanding? Yes. But we are not building that kind of a society. And it's for those of you who are asking, oh, we should just do economy. We should not talk about politics. My question to you is, what do you even understand by politics? Because you probably heard politics, and you think it's a group of people who sit around in a court. Or when you hear politics, you think it's a group of people who surround themselves to oppress the poor. That is what you think when you hear politics. Are you understanding? Politics is very basic. It is us, the people, deciding what we want for ourselves. Laws that will govern us. And then we say we cannot make decisions on every little thing, so we are going to choose those who have our best interests at heart to represent us, right? Both at the regional, the national, and international level. So it is the process of you choosing a leader. Now, if I'm running a business with CSDP, our organization, which is aimed at bridging the gap between the government and the private sector, what is going to happen? If we are building business and we have bad policies, we struggle. So we have to be involved so that we shape those decisions. We choose those people that will represent us well, both at the regional, national, and international level. That is what politics is. It starts with you, what you think and what you know about politics, about what you even want. And then you choose a leader that will represent you. And when you choose that leader, let them do their job. When you choose them, let them do their job. And that is what just happened in Nigeria. Nigerians are not Pan-Africanists. They are the only country on earth, the only country that I think in Africa that are not Pan-Africanists. I don't see that kind of energy in them. If they sit around with you and tell you they are part of Pan-Africanism, they are not. Nigerians are not, and they will succeed. That they will go really far because of that mindset. It's a huge mindset shift for many African countries, and it probably takes some 100 years to get out of that trap. Are you understanding? And when these nations get up and say they are kicking out France, what are you thinking, right? Guys, 66% of that is 66% of the money in the African Union comes from outside, not from the Africans themselves. Did you know that? No, that's how we look at these numbers. We don't just go caught up with the emotion. 66% of the funds that the African Union has, for instance, in 2022, came from outside nations, came from Western nations. 66%. And this is what you should know about Senegal. Their external debt is $32 billion. That is, they owed nations outside of Africa $32 billion. You didn't know this about Senegal, right? You just heard that the president of Senegal wants to kick the military out, right? You owe them. The Bible tells us what? The borrower is a slave to the lender. How are you going to pay that debt if they don't do business with you and you establish favorable trade agreements? So if you are from another African country watching this and you think, whoa, no, it's not about that. You can do, at the end of the day, no, bro, how are you going to give us back that money? Your people can rally around you. The GDP of the entire continent of Africa, like that is, Africa has about 1.5% of the world's wealth. Imagine. America alone has about 30% of the world's wealth. The entire continent of Africa has 1.5%. And you think that that crowd can get you to pay that money? The internal debt of Senegal is $8.5 billion. That is what they owe within Africa. That is internal debt. Not that they owe their nation. That is internal debt. Maybe what they owe their nation and what they owe Africa. And mind you, again, in 2022, right, 66% of the revenue generated by the African Union came from foreign nations. And France is one of those foreign nations. Came from the World Bank. Right? IMF and all that. If you know that you would receive gifts from people and don't want to listen to them, don't take it. It's that easy. Say, no, I don't need it. People don't understand what bilateral agreements are. People don't understand what trade agreements are. People don't understand what it means to get into a contract with somebody. You read it well, you get a lawyer, you understand what that contract means. You honor that contract. What is going to happen is, it's going to help you in the long run to build other relationships. And how humble you are in that process, even when you default, does matter. Attitude is everything. The style will not take us anywhere. I remember a time when I was doing business back home with group of Cameroonians, and I said we had to sign contract before they carry on with the construction project, and they were timid. They said they were signing their life away. I said, no, we are just simply having an agreement, terms of service. Like, how do you plan to do this job? When are you going to do the job? How long will it take you to do the job? And you understand what I'm saying? And how much am I supposed to pay you? What is expected of you and what is expected of me? Let's have that on paper so that at the end of the day, we can track progress and see how far we've come. And they felt that it was a threat. We cannot shout like this and take off this debt. You must pay. And there will be interest. So from an economic standpoint, this is not a good decision. So that's the internal debt. When you look at Ivory Coast, their external debt is $32 billion as well. That is approximately 31.4% of their country's GDP in 2022. So external debt for Ivory Coast, $32 billion. Internal debt, 19.7 billion. That is the internal debt of Ivory Coast. This is how you make sense of a situation. You don't just go shouting, looking at the cultural and social aspect of the problem. You look at the economy. What can we do here? And then you start brainstorming. You arrive at a different conclusion for both your people and your presidency. Okay? My nation, Cameroon. Cameroon's external debt is about approximately 8.5 billion. So external debt, Cameroon is not really that in a bad place compared to some of these nations. Internal debt, our internal debt is approximately 4 billion. So our external debt is 8 billion, 8.5 billion. Our internal debt is 4 billion. So this is how much these nations owe. You can look at France. If you don't know how to do business with them, you leave a loser in that transaction. Blame your negotiation skills, because America does business with France and yet they are successful. How come? What are they doing different? Are we willing to even ask questions and learn what Americans are doing when they sit on the table to negotiate with France? We don't want to learn that, right? We want to feel like they are oppressing us, they are bad, they should leave. That is what rules us. Emotions, culture, right? And sentiment. We have to go past that if we want progress. But if the progress is not important, no, let's keep doing what we're doing. Somehow, with our cultural sensitivity, we'll be able to make progress. Are you tracking? So that is what I think is going on right now. And I thought I'd share with you, don't be ignorant. Learn, understand what politics is. When you look at a leader next year and you're thinking of voting, don't just vote the leader that says, I'm going to destroy President Paul Biya. All right? I will change the government. Yes, that's a good place to start. We need change. We need a degree of change at the government level. We need change in the private sector. So what does that look like? Your political stance should not be predicated on fighting the regime. Your political stance should be predicated on reforming the current regime or the system that we have in place. Let's hear your vision. What is your plan? Don't use President Paul Biya as a bet to get people's vote, thinking that you're coming to take down the giant. The devil that we are fighting is poverty, it's confusion, corruption. That is what we are really fighting. The Bible is clear. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. We wrestle against principalities and power. And I want you to put that in context as a politician or as a leader that is going into becoming a president to reform the system in Cameroon. And that is how I look at life. I look at those principalities, those ideas, those philosophies, those systems. I have nothing against the president of Senegal. I have nothing against the president of Ivory Coast. I have nothing against the presidents of all of these nations that have all of these philosophies. I look at ideas and philosophies. And that is why I look at what Nigeria is doing. I'm like, Nigeria, they're going to be a great nation. The way they think, the way they act, the way they behave, I mean, you got to give it up. If I fight them, I'm fighting God, because these are principles in the Bible. When people follow their leader, they succeed. When people are united, they succeed. When people are cooperative, they succeed, right? When people know how to serve, they succeed. These are just principles. And if I look at them and I see this nation, they exemplify that, I got to give it up to them. And I'm like, there's nothing, they're gonna win. It's a matter of time, they will win. And God will bless them. God says, if you have, he is going to add more. And those who do not have, even the leader that they have will be taken away from them. So if what you have is corruption, is hate, is division, right? If that is what you have more of, God is going to take even the leader that others have and add onto your own hatred and division and disunity. Those who have a certain degree of love, cooperation, leadership, God is going to bless them. Take even the leader that you have and add on to them. So the equation will be balanced. So whatever you get is based on how you think. As a man thinketh, so is he. How you think in your heart, it determines the outcome of your life. That is facts. Go ahead and share this video. Love you guys so much. I hope you got a ton of value out of this video. I just came out to share with you so that you have perspective on how to even think on a subject like this, because it is easy for people to just see what Ivory Coast is doing in Senegal, and then they just put a post out there and start talking about it, and all of a sudden you're like, yeah. No, we step back and we think. That is why I'm giving you something to think. That's all this is all about, that you get something to think on, that stretches your thinking so that you can arrive at a decision, because this collective emotion, right, generates energy, and it can either lead you to the right direction or to the wrong direction, and you will pay big time for it. Even the way you think is not free. You will pay for your thinking. There is a price tag to wrong thinking. There's a price tag to good thinking. That is life. You have to be intentional if you want something good for your life and for that of your children. Remain blessed. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Share this video with a friend. If you're wondering what we are doing here, this is an organization. I'm the face of that, right? CSDP, Cameroon Sustainable Development Project. We call ourselves nation builders. Our goal is to build a firm private sector in Cameroon that works in collaboration with the government, whoever that government is at the time or now or in the future. We are building a bridge between the government and its people. So this is not just something for the next 1 year, 2 years. No, this is a 20 years initiative to bridge that gap between the government and its private sector. We have a long plan and we are following that plan step by step. We'll be engaging in every aspect of our culture, from relationships to business to politics, socio-economic and political. You know why they say that? Because these are intertwined. They affect one another. That's why they say socio-economic and political factors that affects the development of a nation. So we have to factor the social, the economic and political, and to an extent cultural and technological, and see how we can move the nation forward. So that is what our organization stands for. So if you are in the private sector, you're part of us. If you have not yet joined, you are still yet to join, CSDP is the place. Nation builders. If you are not in the government, then you are in the private sector. So if you're in the private sector, this is the place where we come together, speak with one voice, so that when we want to change policies, it is easy for someone in there to hear us. Are you tracking? That is what we do. When we want to initiate or influence change, it is easy because we speak with one voice. The Bible is clear. If they are one, speaking with one voice, nothing that they do, they will fail. They will succeed at anything that they do. And that is what we are doing right here. Guys, until next time, remain blessed.